Hello and welcome to the Sober Cruise podcast. My name is Martin and this is Mark.
Hello, Martin, and welcome
Hello.
everyone.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. I've been out and about doing some, been at the gym, seen some people. So yeah, it's been a good day so far.
So in this first podcast, we'll just spend a little bit about what the Sober Cruise is. So we actually met on a Virgin Voyages cruise, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah.
Atlantic cruise, which was really nice, wasn't it? Sort of we had 14 days, mainly relaxing and mainly really good weather, didn't we? I was quite surprised actually how good the weather was.
Yes, we didn't. I don't think we had a single bad day, and there were certainly no waves or rocking off the boat or anything like that. It was really good.
Yeah, and then I met you whilst on board. Didn't know each other. We actually bumped into each other, but perchance in Barcelona on the way to the pool. But we didn't know. At the time, we were both trying to cross the road.
Yes, it was a very odd pedestrian crossing with two sets of green men, which didn't match up, if I remember. So you did halfway across, but not the full way across.
And it took ages to cross, and I think we both just walked across. And yes, we'll ignore the green man, so we were breaking the rules in Barcelona a little bit. And obviously, we then met on board the ship. So do you want to sort of tell us a bit about your background?
Certainly. Well, so I really, the Sober Cruise could not be named better for me because each word really talks about a big part of my life. I've been sober now for a little over 22 years. And one of the great joys of being in recovery or being sober is working with other people who are sober. I like to spend as much time as possible with other sober people. And then the second bit, the cruising, has for a quarter century now has been my favourite form of travel. So I did my first 2 or 3 cruises while I was still drinking very, very heavily. But for the last 22 years, I've taken about 1 cruise a year, with about 10 different cruise lines, and I just love it. I just love being on a ship. I love getting to all the different ports and just being part of kind of the community on board, and for however long it lasts. Now, the last 3 cruises I've done solo. Usually I go with my partner, but the last 3 have been solo transatlantic cruises. On the last one we met, and I've particularly enjoyed those. The longer time at sea and the just that sense of disconnection from everyday life, I really enjoy.
Yeah, I think the transatlantic was, but the ones that we'll be hosting will be mainly around the Mediterranean, and it's a different kind of thing. We both went on the transatlantic to disconnect. Whereas the Mediterranean cruises, of course, are about going to these amazing kind of places. And without sort of skipping too far ahead, I think a lot of people think that cruise lines are full of people being very merry, shall we say, and making the most of an all-inclusive package to try and get their money's worth. But this was your first experience on Virgin Voyages, so what did you think? What was your sort of first impressions?
I thought Virgin Voyages were just terrific. Of all the cruise lines I've been on, I thought they were by far the most suited to sober travellers. A couple of big things jump out for that. The first one is that they have no drinks package at all. Now, on almost all the other cruise lines now, NCL, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, you are very much encouraged to take the drinks package. And as a result of that, people are drinking a lot more than they normally would, because there's that sense that people want to get their money's worth, so that makes a big difference. The second thing that makes a big difference on Virgin Voyages is that soft drinks, Coke Zero, in my case, ginger ale, if I remember your poison, are free. Completely free throughout the ship, free in the galley, the kind of the closest thing Virgin gets to a buffet, but also free from all the bars. What I've experienced in other cruise lines is that sometimes the bar staff can be a little bit sniffy if you're ordering a Coke Zero. It was friendly service all the way. The other couple of things about Virgin that I really liked, one is that it's very fitness focused. The gyms are great. There are free exercise classes held throughout the day. So there's like meditation and yoga at the start of the day. Then there's the HIIT class that you and I both went to. And then there are also spin classes. And then I think the final thing that really makes a difference on Virgin Voyages is just the overall vibe. The people who come on Virgin Voyages are very diverse. You have a lot of older couples. Of course, there are no children on board. Nobody's allowed on board before they're 18. You have a lot of people traveling on their own. You have a lot of LGBT people, and really that combination of people just leads for a very, maybe sophisticated is the wrong word, but very relaxed and curious, a curious crowd of people. So conversations flowed very naturally. So my second favorite probably would be NCL. I've traveled with them the most, and it's fine traveling on NCL as a sober person, but really Virgin were a cut above, I think.
I think there's so many things that are included. The amazing food that you get on board Virgin Voyages, said the drinks as well. So having all those soft drinks, been able to go and get a Coke Zero anytime. Also the filtered water as well, because I think most cruise lines charge.
That's true, yeah.
Bottled water, whereas it's free filtered water, and you can get it from various different places around the ship. So I was used by water, but all filling it up, which is great. There's single-use plastics as well on board. So that's one of my little bugbears with some of the other cruise lines is there's a lot of plastic and things that are thrown away. So and the food as well is amazing food is what you're gonna get on Virgin Voyages. And I think Virgin Voyages didn't set out to create a something which was a completely sober cruise, but they've kind of done it as almost like a nice little extra that we can kind of tap into. So let's see, we'll talk about it more later on. But we don't have the entire cruise to ourselves. There are going to be other people on board, and they are obviously free to do whatever they want. We are going to be a small group of only 25, which I think is when you can kind of create those kind of friendships and things. And that's basically what we did. We were a small group when we met on board. And that's basically where we came up with the idea of this was, I seem to remember we were sat in the jacuzzi, weren't we?
That's right, yes. Yes, if I remember the way the conversation went, this is the first time on the 3 transatlantics that I'd engaged with the solo group. And what happened was, I think on the first night, I think maybe 60 or 70 people, maybe even more, arrived at the way Virgin Voyages do it is that you meet in a certain place about 5:45, and they give out allocations to the restaurants. And then I think over 2 or 3 nights, just a group of about 6 of us sort of started eating together. And I think you and I were just discussing about how much that added to the cruise, that sense of just having people to go to the shows with and to eat with and to play board games with or do the quizzes with. And then I think I just mentioned to you that I thought it would be really nice to have a sober group like this, how nice that would be. And then over a few conversations, we realised, with you being a Virgin Voyages travel agent, we realised that actually we could make this happen.
Yeah, so I've been selling Virgin Voyages for years now. We're one of the UK's top sellers for Virgin Voyages. And I think as a cruise line, it's definitely my favourite cruise line. I've been on board multiple times, and even the thought about going on again soon with one of my friends. And the thought, we did look at another cruise line to go on to, and the thought of going on another cruise line, we decided no, it wasn't for us. We're already at the best one now, so we're not going to go and have anything kind of lower down. So yeah, the idea came from that we wanted to create a community in a space where a lot of people are kind of maybe nervous or maybe slightly intimidated about going to. I know a lot of people who are sober that wouldn't go, for example, to an all-inclusive hotel because it's there, and they're worried that other people are going to be getting up to things that you kind of expect. People sometimes are all-inclusive, and it's mentioned because Virgin doesn't have the drinks package, which are really expensive on the other cruise lines, up to sort of $90 a day is what you're paying out. And people do try to get their money back off of those drinks packages, whereas you don't get that on Virgin. And the people that are drinking, the prices are not extravagant, but they're not so cheap that you could have a lot of drink unless you're really, really rich, I suppose. But if you're paying $16 a cocktail, then people aren't really going to be getting in your face kind of which I think adds to the kind of the atmosphere. And we thought, let's try and create a nice little community. That's 25 people that we can take away with us. We looked at some of the routes, and we've chosen this one, haven't we? So I think it's a really nice route, isn't it?
It's a fantastic route. It stops in some really interesting ports, and it's 8 nights rather than 7 nights, and it has 2 days at sea. So it really is a very good route. One of the nice things about it is that for most of the ports, in fact, I think maybe for all of the ports, when we dock, we will be arriving in the town. So
Yes.
what can be an issue is that if you arrive, for example, in Civitavecchia for Rome, or if you arrive in Livorno for Florence, once you get off the ship, you've got maybe 90 minutes or 2 hours to get to the destination, to get to where you want to go. Whereas I think with Marseille, certainly with Palma de Mallorca and with Cannes, you walk off the ship and you're in the center of the action, so that's going to be really good.
They're really nice ports. It's very relaxed kind of ports as well. We've deliberately chosen it. So Virgin, with some of their other cruises, do overnights in Ibiza, and we thought it's probably not necessarily the we're going to be going for. So we did look at all the different sailings they were doing in 2026, and this one I think stood out far and away as being places that we think people would like to go to, and they're nice, chilled, relaxed kind of ports, but still also interesting as well. You can, if you've never been on a cruise before, don't think that you have to get off at every single port. If you've been to, Cannes before, for example, and you want to just make the most of being on the ship. So, for example, the spa, if you want to get a massage or go to the day spa, that's cheaper on a port day than it is on a sea day.
It is, yeah. And certainly one of the greatest things about being on a cruise ship is if you have been to a port before, it feels as if you've got the ship to yourself. It can be really nice staying on a ship when everybody else is off. But yeah, as you say, the spa, I think on the one that we were on, I think it was something like $79 on a sea day, but only $59 to visit the spa on a port day.
Yeah, and it's a very nice spa experience. I've done it myself, and you get your mud, face mud thing. There's a salt room. There's a jacuzzi, like a plunge pool, and there's a cold plunge pool as well. So you've been in the sauna, and you can jump into there and see how long you've been for. I wish to do 2 minutes.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
I know we're massive. What people else do it? Everyone else was doing about 10-20 seconds, and I thought, okay, I can do longer than this.
Yeah, and if you do want to splurge, you can get a pass for the entire week. Which means that you can go whenever you want. And I think if the one we were on, I think it worked out at something like $50 a day. But that can be a really lovely thing, just making time in your day every day to go and spend a couple of hours in the spa.
Well, let's talk about actually what people will be doing whilst they're on board. So the sort of a normal kind of day. So if we start off with, for example, a port day, because a lot of that's going to be included. It is going to be actually within the port itself as opposed to being on the ship. So what's the first thing you go and do every morning whilst you're on board?
So one of the really nice things about Virgin Voyages is they have what are called Friends of Bill W meetings every morning at 8 o'clock in the test kitchen, which is one of the restaurants. Now, Friends of Bill W meetings are on a lot of the cruise lines now, and it's effectively a code word for AA meetings. And it's not just AA people who go to them. It's pretty much as anyone who wants to connect with other sober people, or anyone who's part of any sort of 12-step fellowship. So every day that will be available at 8 a.m. I think then after that meeting, which is finish at 9, I think what we would intend to do would be sort of have effectively a coffee and chat, or a breakfast and chat session, where we would, again, people don't have to come, but some of us would go to the galley or maybe Gourmet for coffee and breakfast. And then what we're hoping is that for each of the ports that you and I, but mostly you, will have arranged an excursion, so some sort of bus trip usually. So that would probably leave about 10 o'clock. And then later afternoon, we would have our daily meetup. So probably around about 4:30, 5 o'clock, we'll have kind of a relatively informal meetup where everybody is welcome to come along. Possibly in the dock. The dock is one of the great venues.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would be your first choice anyway. It's loved. The great thing about the dock is you can go indoors or outdoors. There are kind of those lovely beds outside, but of course they serve this fantastic food, this fantastic kind of tapas food. The Greeks in style, but tapas in size. And then in the evening time, probably 6:30, 7 o'clock, we will have a group going to dinner. Now, obviously, people can make their own reservations for dinner if they like, or they can join the group. And then after dinner, that's maybe where we'll split up. One part of the group will maybe go and see one of the shows. Another part of the group might go and do a quiz or do a bit of karaoke or something like that. So the whole idea is that people can spend as little or as much time with the rest of the group as they like.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Is no one's forced to come and have dinner with us. You don't need to wait for dinner or brunch with us if you don't want to. It's entirely sort of optional. And then again in the evening, if people want to go to we did quite a few quizzes, didn't we? We never won on the.
We came second a couple of times.
Yeah, there were a few people that I think I don't know. They managed to get pretty much all the answers right, and I was a bit suspicious of them. But yeah, there's plenty of things. There's plenty of activity to do, or you can literally just do nothing. You've got your sea terrace cabin, so you can just chill out in your hammock. If you haven't seen the hammocks yet, have a quick Google of them because they are really relaxing.
They are fantastic.
Yeah, and just get some room service. Ship Eats is what room service is called. And Mark, you do this, don't you? Because it's a $10 tray charge, but if you order like a coffee or something like that, and it comes, then they'll waive the tray charge, won't they?
That's right, yes. And the other thing they will do in the Ship Eats, and I did this a few times, is that cans of Coke Zero are free. So what I would do is order breakfast maybe every third day, but order like 9 cans of Coke Zero, and then just pop those in the fridge. And it just meant that they were always there if you wanted them. So even you could just grab a can as you were leaving the cabin to go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of places to get the soft drinks around the shipping where you can go to the galley. All the bars do soft drinks. If they don't have it on tap, on pressure, I'm trying to think what they use. Then they have cans. You can take and walk away with. So it's really easy to get a soft drink. And the great thing again, because there's no single-use plastics, all the glasses are the same throughout the ship. So I used to just if we're up in the galley, up in the buffet, and then we're coming downstairs to go to a quiz, for example, I would just take a Coke Zero with me from the galley. So I did whilst I was down. Yes. You can tip the drinks around. It's not, like getting a drink and taking it into TGI Fridays or.
Yes, exactly. So I must admit, I hadn't noticed nothing about the drinks or the glasses, but you're right. Yeah. The other nice thing about the cabin and the drinks is that you have a carafe, 2 carafes in your cabin, and your room steward fills these up every day. 1 carafe with sparkling and 1 carafe with still water. And that was just such a treat to be able to come back and have that water there and not have to think about, I need to go to the galley to get water.
And if you want more.
And if you want more, they'll bring you more. You've got the little tablet in the room, they'll order it, yes. And it's really a combination of all those little touches that make Virgin so great. And everything that's been thought of just to make everything really nice, really easy.
It does make it it's hassle-free on board, and it is relaxing because you are on holiday. So you should be relaxing and chilling out, and you should be out. So, for example, for the restaurant reservations, pretty easy to do the restaurant reservations. Said you can dine with us, you can go off. You might, because we're going to have a WhatsApp group beforehand, you might pair up with people in the WhatsApp group. A lot of people are also coming as either couples or as friends. If there's a couple of couples that know each other, they might go for dinner one night. They might go to Extra Virgin or the Wake or something. So, and on the app, you can meet. You can link all the other people together if you want to. So you can meet up, and then you can sort out your own things in there. It's free Wi-Fi on board as well, so you can contact each other. So if you did want to go, say, do you want to go to a quiz or something? Then you got free Wi-Fi, you got WhatsApp, that kind of stuff. There is a messaging thing in the Virgin Voyages app, but I could never get it to work properly. So just use WhatsApp, and we have that group as well. Yeah. People want to, we'll put in there and say, who fancies doing the quiz at 8?
And on the topic of reservations, so it is very easy to reserve on the app. And of course, it's also very easy to cancel And the way they work it is that they give you 15 minutes grace, and if you haven't arrived within 15 minutes of your time, then they cancel for you. Now there's no penalty for cancelling. So what I would suggest to people is reserve lots and then cancel as you go, as you don't use them. Especially one of the things that we did several times was the brunch at Razzle Dazzle or brunch at the Wake can be really, really nice. And of course, at the Wake at 12 o'clock, they put on the filet mignon, which we had a few times. Which is lovely. You know, it's I mean, the galley's fantastic, but to be able to go to the Wake and just see that beautiful view and be served beautiful food at lunchtime was a real treat.
Yeah, well, talking about, because if you're going to do a brunch, more than likely you can be doing that on a sea day, and we do have 2 sea days. So obviously a sea day is you don't have the port in the middle to sort of take up that sort of 6 hours or 7 hours in port or whatever you're going to be doing. So obviously the starting off would be the same. So 8 o'clock in the morning, you'd be going off to the chef's kitchen for your friends of Bill W, and then begin meeting up for a coffee and sort of a chat afterwards is there. And then what else can people kind of expect to do on a sea day?
So it would be a mix of things that are offered by the ship. So quizzes, for example. Sometimes there are movies, but what we would do is just split the group into smaller groups, and somebody would maybe go to the quiz. You might go to the quiz, and I might go to the movie. Or, I know one of my friends who's already booked on the cruise is very keen on karaoke. So I will be asking her to host the karaoke sessions.
Well, we can do that. Did you ever go in the
I did not. No. You could no. I'm not going near karaoke.
Well, no. You said there's karaoke in the social club, which is open that everyone can go to, and then the karaoke booths.
There are karaoke booths, which I believe the largest karaoke booth holds, I think, 8. Is it? It might even be 10.
You should get about 10 in there.
Yes.
Well, no, about 12 for us actually.
Yeah, so that would be really nice, you know. So what we'll do is effectively it'll just be the port days and the sea days will be relatively similar. So the port days and the sea days will be relatively similar. It's just that we will do more things on the sea days together. So again, people, is no pressure on anybody at all. Is that join lots of things, join very few things. Whatever you feel is your best holiday. That's what we're aiming to provide.
And there's a lot of entertainment they put on. So, for example, some of the singers that are on usually in the evening, they have those during the day. Sometimes they're in the Manor, sometimes they're in the Red Room. Things like the drag show sometime is on a sea day as well. So there's plenty of different things to do. Or you could just chill out, relax, watch the world go by from the cabin.
Yes.
You could do as much or as little as you like.
Yes. Yeah, and of course, all the cabins we booked are Central Sea Terrace cabins. And I remember the reading before I got on the cruise about this hammock, that every terrace has the hammock. And I remember thinking it was a little bit overstated. You know, why do people go on about this hammock? And then I got into the hammock. And then once I got into the hammock, it was, this is why. I mean, it was just lovely. It's just lovely lying for half an hour, just watching the water in the quiet. It's so relaxing. I think every time I got back to my cabin, I was straight to the hammock.
Yes.
So it is a real luxury.
What I like to do is go to the pizza place, get a takeaway pizza, take that up, and then relax in the hammock with a pizza. And that you end up with it all over you. The toppings are. Yes. It is really nice to chill out, have a Coke Zero, watch the world go by, and just chill out and relax. And I think that's one of the great things about Virgin is it is a very relaxed. It's a relaxed atmosphere on board. Like the people, the kind of vibe that's on board is very chilled out, relaxed.
Yes. Yeah. And we can't go too much further without talking about the food.
Yes. I think we've kind of alluded to it, like with the Wake and Razzle Dazzle and things like that. But the food is, I mean, they've won multiple awards. The menus were a lot of the menus were created by Michelin star chefs on land, and then the team on the ship actually sort of put them, the ones actually doing the cooking, and there. So you have real quality food that you would probably pay, like, if you were in London, you're probably paying 60, 70 pounds a head. It's about at least if you went to the Wake in the evening and had your 3-course steak there, that is maybe £80 in London for because it is decent. It's not a cheap steak. It's a really nice cut, and there's different. If you're vegetarian, vegan, all that kind of stuff, that's all sort of taken care of on board as well. Everyone is catered to.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been obviously on a lot more Virgin Voyages cruises than I have. What would you say are your top 3 restaurants on Virgin Voyages?
I would say it's probably, I think for the atmosphere is Gourmet. So we'll treat us all about Gourmet. Gourmet is a Korean barbecue restaurant. So there's was it 8 of you? It's 8 of us.
I think it's about 8, yeah.
You sit around a barbecue pit, and then the server actually cooks the food in front of you. So the starters come out, and then whilst you're eating the starters, they're cooking the chicken or the fish or the octopus as well. Was that what you had as well? Yeah,
very possibly. Yep.
I don't eat seafood, so I don't.
I eat seafood, but not an octopus.
And then you play a counting game as well. So it's you basically can't say if it's got a 3, a 6, or a 9. It's you clap if it's your turn. You go and everything like that, and then and I think just the atmosphere, because when you if you get it wrong, everyone shouts Gourmet and that. So it's a really great atmosphere within there. The food's really good. Well, I remember telling you about the chicken before we went in.
The chicken was very good. Yes,
yeah, that was lovely. Yeah, and then the strips of beef on the barbecue is really good as well. And then probably, I think the Wake is definitely up there for me, either at brunch or in the evening. I think the Wake is, you can't go wrong with steak, can you? I always if I'm gonna go out somewhere and someone else is paying, I always have steak.
Yes.
It's Richard Branson paying. I'm going to eat all of your steak, and then probably Pink Agave which is the Mexican restaurant. I think that's probably my not including the pizza place, because I'm going to.
Yeah, you were very fond of the pizza, if I remember.
So I'm going to have all the sit down restaurants. Normally just get mainly starters there, and then the steaks where it gets. There's a lot of steak on board. There are more other things than just steaks on here. You don't eat steak, but there are other things to eat. But there's a lot of things. So what's your top 3 restaurants?
Well, I would say the Wake definitely would be probably number 1, again, for the steak. But Gourmet I really enjoyed, but it wasn't one of my favourites. The one thing I really did like was Razzle Dazzle. Is kind of has a really nice vibe. The brunch they do there, they do this incredible thing where they take like a disc from a watermelon, then they put on I think it's tofu cream on top of it, and then they put on granola on top of the tofu cream, and then they put frozen fruit on top of the granola. And I just thought that I had that 5 or 6 times, and it was just amazing. And then, of course, the other one we haven't mentioned, which I can't remember the name of, is the Italian. What's the word? Do you remember?
Virgin.
Extra Virgin. Now, that was also very good. The only issue with Extra Virgin was it's just the sheer amount that
it's a lot of carbs.
It was a lot of food.
It's a lot of carbs and a lot of charcuterie. You get the charcuterie board to share. But there's about 4 courses.
Yeah. That was amazing.
A lot of food.
Yeah. And of course, the one we haven't mentioned, which is fantastic, is the galley. Now, I did notice that earlier on that you said the B word, that you mentioned the word buffet. Well, Virgin are very keen to say that it's not a buffet.
It's more like a food cart is. So like food truck kind of style is you go up, and for example, I used to like the tacos. So I'd go up there and say, can I have one of the avocado tacos and one of the pork tacos? And then they'd make it all fresh to order, and then put it on a plate for you. So you just have that, and then if you wanted to go get something from somewhere else, so if you wanted to get chips, you just go around the corner and get chips from somewhere. It's not, big pile your plate high of beige food and slop everything on top and end up with this weird concoction. it looks really nice. And
it's restaurant quality food. It's not buffet quality food. It is really good. And the other thing, of course, that which I really, really liked was that you don't have to queue and get it. That they have these little cards on the table, and you put your little flag up, and someone comes and asks you what you want. So you can order. The salads were just amazing. I really like the salads, but you could order a salad from one place and a hot dog or a burger from somewhere else, and they would bring it all together.
Yeah.
So it really is. It's like another restaurant. It's really, to call it a buffet would really be downplaying how good it is. And then and just again another little quirky thing on Virgin is that they have the lollipop stand.
That's
Pops, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where they have like three different, like they had a chocolate covered banana lollipop, and that was just really nice to be able to at the end of your meal just to be able to wander up there and get a nice lolly just to wander around the ship with.
Of course, a lot of the time we went down to the ice cream parlour, didn't we?
We did,
and really nice because again they make the ice cream on board, so there's different flavors every day to choose from. And it's the kind of stuff that if you had that on land, well, if you were in, say, Palma, Mallorca, you'd pay what, €6 for a pop?
I think you would, yeah. Yeah, it was proper ice cream, proper scoop ice cream. And it's interesting, and one just, again, the other side of the coin is just where sober people just have to be a little bit careful, is that what I did notice was that with the 3 ice lollies, one of them always contained alcohol. And then with the 6 ice cream flavours, one would contain alcohol. Now, the nice thing was it was always on the label. Yeah. So you could look at the lollipop and it would say whatever flavor it was. It would say contains alcohol, so you should not have it. And then similarly with the ice cream, it was more obvious because it would tended to be things like rum and raisin or Malibu Surprise and stuff. But again, it always had written on it contains alcohol. And I just thought that was a nice little touch that they took the care to say to people, look, if you're avoiding alcohol, then don't have this flavor. There are 5 others to choose from.
You're not going to go hungry on Virgin, or you're not going to go thirsty. There's plenty of things to drink. I mean, I think we'll sort of cover it on a different podcast. But if you want non-alcoholic beers and things like that, then there's those available. If you want mocktails, that kind of stuff, all available. Or say what we just kept on having is one Coke Zero and one ginger ale, please.
Yes, yeah. And they also things like they have the smoothies and the protein smoothies and the ginger shots and the coffee, of course. The coffee, there are 2 very good coffee places on board, as well as the free coffee in the galley.
Yeah, so you can get. I don't drink coffees, but you can get the coffee, the regular sort of drip filtered coffee, or you can get your what I would call Starbucks style coffee. Yeah, to have that in if you.
So we've covered pretty much everything. We've covered we actually know that I tell a lie. There are 2 things we still need to cover. One is the entertainment. And then the second, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but it might be worth talking about a little bit more, are the fitness, fitness options. So tell us a little bit about the entertainment. You've been on quite a few of them, so you'll have seen most of the things.
So the entertainment on board is, if you've got a lot of other cruise ships, they either take, a West End show and then water it down to kind of make it like a smaller kind of version of it, so it fits in, or it's cover bands and things like that. Now you get such a wide range. We've already talked about quizzes and things like that. So we'll talk about the stuff that's in the Red Room. The Red Room is a multifunctional room, so it can be a traditional theatre. It can be an entire dance floor, which where we had like some of the events in there. They have their own. It's like a Cirque du Soleil sort of style performance on board. So we saw Persephone whilst we were on board. I've seen quite a few, pretty much all the other ones on the other ships. Each Virgin Voyages cruise ship has its own drag queen, and she has her own show, which kind of showcases her talents. And then they have usually like the diva will sing like hits on a different day, and then you got the hostess who's the they've all got amazing voices, all really great singing. Yes. She can definitely belt out a tune. So you've got those, and then sometimes they have comedians on board. Sometimes they have bands and music. you can literally walk. I remember we came out of we'd seen something in the Red Room, and we walked out. Well, I think we walked through the SIP lounge, and there was a guitarist playing in there. We walked to the roundabout, and there was another band playing in there, and then there was a quiz going on in the social club, and then there was something else happening at the back of the ship as well. And like, we're on the same deck.
Yes. Yeah.
4 or 5 different things that you could go and do just on the same deck. There's always something going on. So, entertainment wise is absolutely amazing. So,
yeah. And before you move on from the Red Room, an honourable mention to I think it was called the Misbehaviour Show.
Oh, shit.
Which is completely impossible to describe, but I think it is possibly the funniest thing I have ever seen. It was just hysterical.
It was really well done. And again, if you try and describe it, people go, well, you can't describe it enough. I think it's indescribable in a good way.
Yeah.
Very good way. But the shows on board are really good. The performers are excellent. They work really hard. And the shows are really well done and well choreographed. So that just now leaves us onto the fitness side of things. And
well, what about the Manor? Let's talk a little bit about that first.
We messed up the Manor as well. So the Manor is the nightclub. Now they also use it. So we did a was like a legs, bums, and tums kind of class, wasn't it? Like a
it was the VHS workout.
It was the VHS workout.
The Gene Simmons VHS workout, where we had our sweatbands and our little shaky things, and there was a lot of neon, if I remember.
Yeah, there was a lot of neon in that. And then they have different nights. So, for example, there's an 80s party night in the Manor, which is a lot of fun. So a lot of people will dress up, take their clothes from it. Some people have got their clothes doing the wardrobe from the 80s, and some people will go out and buy new clothes for it, neon and that kind of things. There's different ones. There's another one called We Fancy, which is, dress up a bit kind of fancier. But what it is it's not just it's a nightclub, but, throughout the night, there will be performances as well. So every sort of like 8-4 song, the diva might come out and then perform a song, but they perform it on the dance floor with everyone around. So you kind of feel like you're really part of something. It's really, really cool. Kind of like
you remember underselling it a little bit there, because there are some fantastic shows in there. I mean, is it the one Lola's Book Club?
Oh, Lola's Library, yeah.
Lola's Library, that was a fantastic show. And then there was the Philip Brown, who was the West End singer. Who had been in The Lion King. So he was brilliant. He was on several times. And then there were comedians. So it's more of a cabaret club, isn't it, really, Rob? Whereas the Red Room's kind of more of a traditional theatre. The Manor's much more cabaret based, little tables, like a little French bistro with tables with little chairs around them. Yeah. It gets very busy. Now with the Red Room,
you have to go there.
The Red Room, you can probably arrive 10 minutes before the show, but what we noticed that for the Manor, people were arriving 45 minutes before the show. And if you'd probably still get standing room if you arrived close to the showtime. But if you wanted a seat, you had to arrive in plenty of time.
The good thing is that it's there's a waiter service for the drinks. And again, they'll bring you over Coke Zero, ginger ale, white, whatever you want.
Other drinks are available, but Coke Zero and ginger ale are very popular.
Regular Coke, if you want the sugar, you can have that. They sell Red Bull as well, pretty much across the shit. Red Bull's, I think, $6 a can.
Yeah. And it's just another little thing about the drink. And I have no evidence to support this, but I do think that for a lot of people, once or twice during the day, if they're in the bar and they think, you know what, I can get a Coke for $0 for nothing, or I can get a beer for $10, a lot of people are just saying, I'll have a Coke. And I think that helps to reduce the amount of alcohol that's taken on the ship.
Yeah, it's the thing if they're going to have to pay for it. They know they're going to have to pay for it. The group we were with, there were some people that were sober, there were some people that weren't sober, but most people, at lunchtime or even at dinner would probably, even the ones that drank, they would have just a Sprite or something, just to have something with dinner or with lunch. And if they wanted to have a drink later, they could do a drink later. But I think you're right. With people don't feel the need to maximize the drinks package that they've paid a horrendous amount of money for. Why not just go for the thing that's free?
That's right. Yeah. Okay, fitness. Tell us about the fitness.
So, fitness. Now, I've been on quite a lot of cruise ships, and would you agree that the gym facilities are are absolutely amazing, aren't they? They're kind of the quality that you would get on land. I used to work for Virgin Active, and it's the sort of similar kind of quality, similar kind of feel to it as well. On board, it's all great equipment, and it's open 24 hours a day, so you can go in any time. It overlooks. It's split into two, and it overlooks you, so the sea. So whilst you're on the treadmill, you could be looking out to sea, which I did, and I thought it was great because you were looking at the other ships going past whilst you're on the treadmill or on the cross trainer or whatever. And then the other thing is that all the classes.
Yeah.
And there's so many classes to do. You've got so we did the HIIT class quite a few times, as in the training room, which is above the gym. And in there, they have things like the TRX, and they have like medicine balls and things. They got a little boxing ring as well, which I never saw anyone go into. They got that.
There were probably a few influencers went in for an Instagram picture, but apart.
You go in for a picture and then get out. It's pretty sharp. But you hate to actually what they're doing. You come down. But there's then you've got the rooms that a lot of the other classes take place in. So there's the more sort of mind and body sort of style one.
Yeah. So they used to have, to talk about the mind and body ones, so they used to have what they call a sun worshippers class first thing in the morning. So that was at 8 o'clock. I didn't go to that very often because it clashed with the Bill W. But that was more like a stretching class. And then they would move into a mindfulness class for half an hour, which is as you'd expect. And then they would move into yoga. So for some people, that's like 90 minutes of class, just focusing on low impact, almost spiritual kind of exercise. But that was really lovely. Yeah. But of course, those classes, not so much the sun worshippers one, but the yoga and the mindfulness do happen at other times of the day. So you don't have to do them in the morning.
Yeah. And then on a complete sort of opposite side of things with the spin classes.
The spin classes were fantastic. I have to say, I've done spin classes on other ships, so I've done them quite a few times on NCL, and they kind of were a little bit half-hearted. That whereas in this class, if the spin class was at 10:30, at 10:31 you were pedaling, and it was really the classes are taken very seriously. Certainly the HIIT class that we went to a couple of times was as good as any HIIT class I'd ever been to on land.
Yeah, Ash set it up really well. There was enough stations. There was enough variety of things as well, because it wasn't all upper body, lower body. It was a good mix. You were getting a good workout. We've both got bands that track what we were doing, and we were checking every day to see we calories a bit off our leg got up to it, etc. He knows how to work you hard, doesn't he? Yeah. It's only half an hour, but it's a good half an hour blast, and they're on sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes in the morning. So again, we would generally did the morning ones. We're going to have a smoothie afterwards.
The protein smoothies afterwards are exactly the reward after the punishment.
and then again, for the fitness side of things, we'll sort of mention that you can go to the actual gym itself, and if you've got your own workout, so you can do that. And the great thing is that I think a lot of people think that it's going to be full of bodybuilders, or it's going to be way for thin people and that, and it's not. It's the gym is used by all different types of people. It's in the classes as well. It was really nice to see the different fitness levels.
Yeah,
and different kind of people that went to the HIIT classes, and the HIIT generally does put off people if they've never done it before or something. But I think sometimes you're on a cruise and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to give this a go, and it's just a great way of burning off some calories, starting the day right, good sort of mindset for the rest of the day. And if it's early enough and then you end up going to Cannes in the afternoon, that's free, It means you can have an extra ice cream when you're in Cannes.
Yes, yeah. And one of the things I'd been worried about before the cruise, because I'd read about that you have to book the classes and that they can fill up. But I think what we found is that actually booking the class, there was often availability. And for some of the classes, even if you didn't have a booking, if you just went, they would make space for you. So, for example, the HIIT class, there was one day, it was meant to have 18 people in it, and one day it had 22 people in it, because all you had to do was add some extra stations. And so I think we got all the classes that we wanted to get to.
Yes, definitely. I think we managed to do, we did extremely well, can pat ourselves on the back. Yeah. Now, we definitely deserved our steaks at the end of it. But I think it's just about creating this overall whole holiday that you're going to get, you can go into the fitness side of things, and you can do the wellness side of things, go to the spa if you want to, you can go to a pool party if you want to, you can stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning at the manor if you want to, or you could just chill out and relax on your sea terrace in your hammock.
Yeah.
And have as much or as little food as you like. Pretty much every single taste is going to be catered for on board, from just in the galley. Just the different sort of type. You had Asian food, you had sort of the hot off the press, you had all the lovely cakes, the salads, the bagels, that kind of stuff, and then was a rotating menu as well. Plenty of different things you could have.
Yes, yeah. And one funny little thing was that the one restaurant I really wanted to get to was the Sun Club Cafe, because I'd heard that they do these amazing poke salads and these amazing bao buns, and yet we were on there for 14 nights and I never got to it because there was just so much else, So on this trip, that will definitely be one of the first places I head to. But yeah, the food you cannot sing the praises of the food enough. It was just fabulous.
So I think that kind of wraps things up for the first episode, kind of giving people a good kind of feel about what to expect from the Sober Cruise. So it's a maximum of 25 people, all like-minded people, all going for the same reasons. So if that sounds of interest to you, then obviously get in touch with us at thesobercruise.co.uk. And then the next upcoming few episodes afterwards will be going into more detail about what to expect on board, what the actual cruise is like, about the cabins, that kind of stuff, and also the itinerary, because we said we handpicked this itinerary, so we want to let people know all about it as well. So thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Martin. It's been good fun.
Yes, great, excellent. Yeah, and thank you, listeners, for listening, and we should speak to you very soon.